welcome back to Hoops and Helmets for week 5, I think now, Carsen. Been
That's
at it
right.
for a month, which is fantastic. Love to see it. But we got to talk about the national championship from a week ago. Obviously, Houston kind of blew it to Florida a little bit. They had a lead, and Florida was able to storm back and end up as national champions. Walter Clayton Jr. had a great game, not just offensively,
Mhm.
but it was his defensive prowess that really stood out and helped secure the win for the Florida Gators. But let's just jump right into it. Carsen, how was Florida able to come back and beat Houston?
Well, you mentioned Walter Clayton Jr. and just the stifling defense, but more than anything, I think Todd Golden deserves the most credit for this game, dude. He is a phenomenal coach. I have had multiple people tell me, but uh, just like as an X's and O's guy, he is incredible. He was clearly the better coach in this game. Um, like you said, they were down 12 in the second half, but his team just really rallied behind him and he took command. And what I mean by that is the plays he was drawing up were so just worked so immediately and so quickly that Florida didn't really have to play out of structure. Like he was just immediately one that I wrote down that um, I just thought it was the most beautiful game of the entire or the most beautiful play of the entire game. Clayton brings the ball down. He gives it to Thomas Ha, who is right at the top of the key, um, with Alex Condon at the free throw line, and he gives it, like I said, he gives it to Ha, and it looks like he's gonna go set a screen for Richard on the right wing, but instead, Richard swings around him and sets a screen for him and gets the switch with the defender. It was Sharp and somebody else, but he got the switch with the defender. Um, and then as like simultaneously, Condon set another screen uh, on the wing. He stepped up and set a screen on the wing, and it just got Clayton a wide open shot with like 3 minutes to go in the game, I think. When he hadn't really been able to get his offense going all night. And it was just, it was like Todd Golden knew exactly what his team needed in that moment. When it's that close to the game, you have to have your best player going. And he got his best player going. He manufactured it. So I thought it was really great. That was just one play out of many, many plays that he drew up all day. I mean, every time he came out of timeout, really, he had something going and got Florida a score. He always had the right guys on the court, and he just drew up more open looks for his team. Like Kelvin Sampson did not do that very well, I didn't think. And when he did a couple times, but and his guys just missed shots. But overall, Kelvin Sampson is not really an X's and O's coach. I feel like he's more just really good at rallying his guys. He's a motivator, which is fine. Some coaches win like that. Sometimes they're great. I prefer the X's and O's guy, and Todd Golden was just incredible all game long from that perspective. But you touched on the defense, and it was really, really incredible. Incredible, not just from Clayton in this game. As a whole, Florida's perimeter defense was amazing. Houston ran a lot of pick and rolls and handoffs on the perimeter trying to get their guys open. And Florida's guards did a great job of closing out on their shooters and sliding their feet. When the Houston guards closed out on those closeouts, or sorry, when Houston attacked those closeouts, they also did a really good job navigating the screens and cutting off the pass to the big man before getting back to the ball handler. And the big men played their role in those screens perfectly as well. Defended the guards really, really well whenever they did get switched out on the perimeter. Florida was kind of trying to not switch as much, but whenever they did switch, the bigs just really slid their feet well. Really, really defended Houston's guards very, very well. And then the backline bigs did a really good job too. They moved like as a unit on pick and roll, making sure to get behind the rolling bigs so they couldn't get that pass off just to cut off that pass. And then they would stunt the ball handler whenever they were in pick and roll. And then they waited for their guard to get back and switched back so seamlessly. It was beautiful, beautiful basketball. Just a really, really good game plan once again from Todd Golden, and the players, I thought, executed it really, really well. To me, the bigs were you'll hear like Will Richard, he played very, very well. Walter Clayton Jr. got it going, but I thought the bigs for Florida really won them this game, really stood out. They rebounded very, very well against a really, really good Houston rebounding team. 32 defensive rebounds. And when you compare that to other teams that have played Houston in this tournament, Duke only got 21 defensive rebounds against them. Tennessee only got 23 defensive rebounds. Purdue only got 22 defensive rebounds. Gonzaga only got 2 defensive rebounds. So you could tell that was a big focal point for them. And at first it wasn't working very well. Like Houston did get a lot of offensive rebounds in the beginning, but they turned it around. So that was really, really good. And then it was just Florida's surrounding talent, not just Walter Clayton Jr. He only had 11 points. He shot well. He really, I was impressed by Walter Clayton's Jr. ability not to like some players, especially great scorers like he is, will just try to take over the game and they'll start getting up bad shots. Walter Clayton Jr. I did not think did that. He really played well within the flow of the game. And he's done that all year, but especially like in big games like this, it can be easy as a great scorer, as a great shot maker to try to take over. But he didn't do that, and he didn't have to because their surrounding talent was just really, really good in this game. The bigs played incredible. Alex Condon had 12 points, 7 rebounds, 4 steals. Thomas Haw had 5 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block. Chinyelu had 3 points, 5 rebounds, 1 block. And their defense didn't show up on the stat sheet as well as I thought they played. I mean, you heard 1 block, but I thought they just defended a lot better than that because they were playing a lot on the perimeter, which is where I kind of thought Houston would have the advantage in this game, just getting those bigs out. But when they switched out there, like I said, they just moved their feet really well. And just I was shocked at how well they defended Houston's guards. Will Richard, though, I mentioned him. You have to mention him because he was Florida's best player all night long. 18 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block on 76.5% true shooting. Most of his points came off pretty open looks drawn up by Todd Golden, of course. But you still have to have a lot of ability to just execute. He came off screens really, really quickly, elevated really high above the Houston guards, and he just took a lot of smart shots. He was really, really good in this game, and I was shocked because I didn't think that anybody really on Florida was going to play very well outside of Walter Clayton Jr. I mean, Elijah Martin played pretty terrible. 7 points, 1 rebound on 32% true shooting. He did not have a good game. But I mean, it didn't matter because Florida's defense just kept them in this game. One thing I did not think I would be saying on this show was that Florida kind of secured the ball pretty well. Terrible in the first half with it. They had 12 turnovers in the first 25 minutes. But then they ended the game with 13 turnovers. So in the last 15 minutes, Aaron, 1 turnover. And we know that Florida's a second half team. So they did their job in that perspective, in my opinion. They only lost the turnover battle by 4. I thought it was going to be a lot higher than that. With all that being said, Houston didn't play bad. I mean, it was a very, very close game. They did some really good stuff too. They won the rebounding, or they lost the rebounding battle by 1 actually, but they got 15 offensive rebounds. They won the turnover battle only by 4, not as much as they should have, not as much as it looked like they were going to in the first half. And in the first half, they really dominated the painted area. Roberts was doing his thing mostly. You could just see, even though he didn't have many points, and he only had 8 points on 3 shots, and he missed 10 shots. But in the first half, he was still really imposing himself, his physicality, which is what I thought they needed to be doing all night. But they really went away from that in the second half. And that's one thing that I really put on the coach. I put that on Kelvin Sampson. Aaron, if you're up by 12 in the second half, what could possibly possess you to start shooting more threes? It doesn't make any sense. You're up by 12, you attack the basket, you get to the free throw line. It's a waiting game at this point. Like, all you have to do is not get outscored by 12 points for the rest of the game. I put that on Kelvin Sampson. I just thought it was a pretty poor game plan in the second half. But I did like their defensive game plan overall, and I thought it was executed well. Well, I said that they needed to load up on Walter Clayton Jr. He had 0 points in the first half. He had 11 points in the second. And most of them came pretty late. Like I said, Todd Golden just drew him open and got him going. Manufactured it, which I thought was really good. Elijah Martin, like I said, didn't play well. Florida only shot 39.6% from the field and 25% from three. Aaron, I think if they played this game over, like say they play it 10 times, I think Houston wins it probably 70% of the time. They just shot well below their standard, missed a lot of open looks, especially in the first half. And Emmanuel Sharp was the worst player on the court. And, I mean, we all know what he did on that last possession, and I'll get into it. But even before that, 8 points, 3 of 11 from the field, 1 for 7 from three, 33.7% true shooting. He was just off all night long. A lot of those were open looks, too, that I think he normally would have made and he should have. And they just didn't fall. Same thing for LJ Cryer. He should have hit a lot more threes than he did. He had 18 points, but he just missed a lot that he should have made. Juwan Roberts missed a lot that he would normally make. So I think Houston normally would win this game, but it doesn't matter. It does not matter. This is the game that was being played, and Florida won. And I mentioned the terrible ending sequence. It was really, really bad, Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
You dropped.
And before you get into that, what do you think about Kelvin Sampson directly calling out Emmanuel Sharp for the error in that? Do you think that was the right move to make, or should he have not name dropped any player to blame for the loss?
Well, look, Aaron, I'm okay with holding your players accountable, but I think that Sampson went about it in a really, really terrible way. First off, do you think everybody out here, anybody that was watching, thinks that Sharp did the right thing on that final play? No. Every single person in the room, every single person that was watching knows that he blew it at the end. I mean, that's just the truth. He did. But as a coach, you don't say that, dude. You don't say that. You let the media say that. You let the fans say that. But you as a coach don't say that. The direct quote I have here from Kelvin Sampson. We have a set where it's a stack or gate. We thought if we could get Emmanuel to shot fake and get downhill, he probably should have shot faked that. 100% true. I completely agree. I do. But as a coach, you don't throw your players under the bus like that. I just think that's wrong. I mean, and Sharp is coming back. Like, he's not gone. So I just think it could cause a lot of problems for the team moving forward. And I just thought it was unprofessional as a coach. The one I even had more problems with, Aaron, was what he said about Juwan Roberts. Somebody asked him, why'd you only have 5 assists for the game? And this was his direct quote. Let me explain how an assist works, Evan. I'm not sure, but when you throw the ball to someone and they score, that's an assist, right? We threw the ball a lot to Juwan Roberts in the post, and he missed some shots that he normally makes. So those were possible potential assists that we had, a lot. We just didn't make a lot of shots. 100% true. I'm not disagreeing with that. But Juwan Roberts was not even asked, his name wasn't in the question. The question was, why did you guys only have 5 assists, right? What did they take away? And he just called out Juwan Roberts like that. I think that is so, so unprofessional and just kind of heartbreaking as a player. Like, Do you think that Jawan Roberts doesn't know that he went 3 for 13 and missed a lot of shots that he should have made? Like, of course he knows that. Of course, everybody watching knows that. He's not in the question. Like, as a coach, what you're supposed to say when they say, "Oh, tell me about that final possession." As a coach, you're supposed to say, "That was an unfortunate final possession, but that is not what lost us the game. We lost the game plenty of possessions before that when we were missing open threes and when we were turning the ball over. That's what lost us the game, right? Not this guy." And then when they ask you about the assists, just say we missed a lot of shots we normally would have made. Put it on the team because it is a team sport. Like, it's on the team, but don't call out one of your players specifically. I just thought that was really, really terrible as a coach. And especially when, like I said, I thought Kelvin Sampson was pretty thoroughly outcoached in this game. Just didn't draw his guys open very often, and didn't really change the game plan around. I think that was pretty pitiful as a coach to call your players out like that.
And before we get into your way too early top five, let's end this on a more positive note. Carsen, Todd Golden was the youngest head coach to win a national championship since Jim Valvano won it with NC State in 1983. Does this win for Golden cement him as one of the top college basketball coaches in the country?
I went pretty back and forth with this one because, Todd Golden has a pretty strong resume for a coach that's only been a head coach for 3 years. They were pretty bad with him his first year. His second year, they made the tournament, lost in the first round. Third year, they win a national championship. You're on a pretty good trajectory there. I can't say he's in the very top tier of coaches yet, just because he hasn't done it long enough. Like Pitino, 2 national championships, 7 Final Fours, 5 SEC tournament wins, 4 Big East tournament wins, 1 AP Coach of the Year, 1 NABC Coach of the Year. Calipari won national championships, 6 Final Fours, 6 SEC tournament wins, 3 Naismith Coaches of the Year, 1 AP Coach of the Year, 3-time NABC Coach of the Year. Tom Izzo, 1 national championship, 8 Final Fours, 6 Big Ten tournament wins, and 2 NABC Coach of the Years. Dan Hurley, 2 national championships, 2 Final Fours, 1 Big East tournament win, and 1 Naismith Coach of the Year. Bill Self, 2-time national championship, 4-time Final Four, 8-time Big 12 tournament winner, 2-time AP Coach of the Year, 1-time Naismith Coach of the Year, 1-time NABC Coach of the Year. Those are like my top tier of coaches, my top 5. But I would put him in that second tier, and I think he's probably at the top of it. My second tier, I would say, is like John Shire. Kelvin Sampson would be there. Mark Few from Gonzaga. Bruce Pearl from Auburn would be up there. We've had a lot of like really great coaches retire recently. Roy Williams and Coach K, and Tony Bennett. And I can't believe I'm blanking on Syracuse's old coach, but he was great.
Boeheim.
Yes, Boeheim. So coaching is kind of weaker right now than it has been, but I still can't put him in that top tier. He would have to win another. He would have to win one more, or he would have to, just be a head coach for longer and win some SEC tournaments. And he's a great coach. He's probably him and John Shire are probably my top 2 in that second tier. And if he wins one more, I will put him in that top tier. But for right now, I will put him at the top of that second tier, which, that's a great coach, right? You're the 6th or the 7th best coach in the nation. I don't feel like I'm disrespecting him with that at all.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would put him in that second tier.
And I've got to agree with you. Yes, he's on a phenomenal trajectory. He just has to do it longer to be in that conversation with some of the legends that are still coaching, like
they really are,
like Bill Self.
They are legends.
Yes, to your point about coaching maybe being on a bit of a downturn because so many legends have retired, I think this just means that we're going to see new legends step up and fill their place in the next 5, 6 years. And I think Todd Golden could definitely be one of those guys who elevates himself into that conversation. But Carsen, moving on, we're going to do a really way too early top 5 for this upcoming season. Maybe Florida cracks it, maybe they don't. Does Houston make the top 5? Carsen, let's get it going with your way too early top 5.
Well, I want to preface this with a couple things. First off, these will be in no particular order. It's just way too early, I think, to even put an order on this, guys. We will have no clue what's really going to happen. And my second one is recruiting and transfer portal are not done at all. I mean, they're kind of shaping out somewhat, especially like the top tier guys, but there's still so much more to know. I mean, we don't even know who's going to the draft yet. We don't know who's coming back, who's going to waive their eligibility. We don't know a lot of things. So it's a way too early one. And I reserve the right to change my opinion at any point. So Aaron, I'll kick it off, I guess, with Houston because they were just in the national championship. And I think they're going to be one of the better teams in the country next year. They are losing some really great players. LJ Cryer is gone. Jawan Roberts is gone. Javier Francis, Ramon Walker, they're all seniors. And Uzan is projected to get drafted. And that's how I did this too. Like, because we don't know who's getting drafted yet. We don't know who is going to waive their collegibility. We don't know who's going to stay away from the NBA draft. So I just went to the latest NBA mock draft from the NBA. And if they were on that mock draft, then I just presumed that they were gone. So that might not be how this played out, but for this, I just did it like that. So they're losing some really great players, but they have one of the better transfer and recruiting people in the entire nation. Chris Sinak Jr., he's the number 7 recruit in the entire nation. He's a center, huge guy. Isaiah Hartwell is the number 16th recruit in the nation. Kingston Flemings is point guard, number 23 recruit in the nation. And then in transfer, they got point guard Pop Isaac and center Khalifo Sako. I think that's how you probably say his name. And they're keeping a couple really important guys, Joseph Tugler and Emmanuel Sharp. I would probably transfer if I was him, but just because he's got to have some beef with Kelvin Sampson after that, you know. But who knows? But they're keeping them, and they won't. It's going to be different than it was this year. It's not going to be just 3-point shooting and defense that are propelling them all this way. It's going to be much more interior oriented. Isaiah Hartwell and Kingston Flemings aren't the most comfortable shooting outside the arc, but they're both really good attacking the rim. Kingston Flemings with his athleticism and Isaiah Hartwell with his strength. And Isaiah Hartwell also just elects for a lot more mid-ranges. So, yeah, I think that Houston is going to be really good. Probably not as good as they were this year, I will say. Just because, I mean, when you're so elite at 2 huge traits, when you're as an elite 3-point shooter as they were, and when you're as elite defense and offensive rebounding, so 3 really, they're not going to be that this year, or I guess next year, but they're going to be really good, and I would say that they'll be a top 5 team. Aaron, you'll probably like to hear this. I've got Michigan in my top 5. They absolutely killed it in the transfer portal. They got UAB power forward Yaxel Lindenborg, I believe is his name. Number 1 transfer in the nation. You've got Illinois' power forward Morez Johnson Jr. You've got UCLA center Ade Mara, and you've got UNC point guard Elliot Cadeau. I mean, that's a really good, amazing transfer class. Mm-hmm. And then recruiting, they've got Trey McKinney and they've got small forward Winters Grady. They are losing some pretty key contributors. Danny Wolf has gone to the draft. Vladislav Golden is going to the draft, according to the NBA mock draft. Namari Burnett is a senior. Reuben Jones is a senior. And Will Cheddar is a senior. Aaron, you can expect to see this Michigan team absolutely punish in the post.
Hmm.
I mean, defensively, offensively, on the interior, they are just going to be absolute monsters. Yaxel Lindenborg can play anywhere on the court, really, but he's most comfortable inside because he's 6'9", 240 with a 7'3" wingspan. Morez Johnson is a bruiser. He's not very good outside the paint, but in the paint, he can push his way around. He's got pretty good touch, and he's going to get where he wants. Ade Mara is just 7'3" with a 7'7" wingspan. I mean, you can't guard that. You can't guard 7'3" with a 7'7" wingspan. Elliot Cadeau is a very limited three-point shooter, as you know, watching UNC basketball. But he's a good slasher, and he's a very decent playmaker. He was much better in college, or in high school. In college, he's been a little more back and forth with turnover problems, but he's still a good playmaker. Trey McKinney can shoot behind the arc, but he's more comfortable using his strength to get his way inside. Winter Grady is an absolute sharpshooter. I think he shot like 45% from three. So that's really, really good. But I mean, outside of him, they're just going to be an interior team that just pushes you around and absolutely dominates you.
Mhm.
The next team I have here, Aaron, is
Real quick, just
yeah.
another note on Michigan. Trey Donaldson, who was third on Michigan in points per game, he has hit the portal. And I just want to hit on this a little bit more. Sorry to cut you off, Carson. Michigan is losing a lot of their production. Golden, Wolf, and Donaldson were their top three scorers, also their top three rebounders as well. And they filled those needs perfectly.
Yeah,
I feel like
I completely agree.
Lindeborg, great scorer, good rebounder. He was fourth in the nation in rebounds per game. They're solving that problem. Also, what was phenomenal, 1.8 blocks per game, 1.7 steals per game.
Yeah.
They're getting that back. Mara as well, 1.6 blocks per game. And against Tennessee in the NCAA tournament, he had 3 blocks. And also in the first round against Utah State, he had 5 blocks. So Michigan is going to be so dominant in the post, like you said. And despite them losing all this production, they filled the needs that they're going to have spectacularly. And I am super excited to watch this Wolverines team next season.
100%. You said it better than I could say it myself. And I mean, they're going to be better than they were. So obviously, with all that talent going out, they're bringing in more and better talent, in my opinion. Because I mean, I've got them as a top 5 team, and I mean, what were they in the tournament? 5th seed, I think, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're going to be better, in my opinion, than they were. Next, I have UConn. UConn had a really incredible recruiting class this year. Braylon Mullins is the number 13th recruit in the nation. Just absolute sharpshooter, and he is an elite perimeter defender with his size. Darius Adams, who's a combo guard. He's a streaky shooter but he's got really good size, and he's just a really intelligent player on both sides of the floor. He knows where to be. He's a good off-ball mover. He's a good passer. Eric Ribe, I'm going to say is his name. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce his last name. But he's like the perfect modern big. He's a power forward somehow. I think he's more of a center. I would consider him a center because he's 7 foot, but he can space the floor really effectively. He's a really, really good passer. He's a good screener. And he's got the ability to be a great defender. He just kind of has to put it together. I mean, I want to see more motor there. I want to see more intention there. But, I mean, offensively, he is a perfect connective big, which you really love to see. And Jacob Furphy, who's the number 96 recruit in the nation, he's coming over from Australia. He's a really, really good connective piece. Incredible passer. That's his standout trait. But he can shoot off ball, or he can shoot, and he's a really good mover off ball. If you are seeing a trend here, it's shooting. Everybody's a really good shooter on this team. They got some really good transfers too. They got a point guard from Dayton, Malachi Smith, incredibly fast guard. I mean, he's lightning quick, sharp shooter. I think he shot 40% from three. He's got no inside the arc game, and he's so small. I think he's like 6 foot, really skinny. He just doesn't have the ability to be a good defender. He doesn't have just the physicality and body type to be a good defender, but offensively, he is a really good point guard. And then they got a combo guard from Georgia, Silas Damari Jr., who's a really, really good point of attack defender. He's a decent catch and shoot threat, but his offensive game needs some serious work. I mean, outside of just of catching the ball and shooting it, he's got kind of nothing. And they are losing so only two key contributors, Hassan Diarra and Samson Johnson. They're getting back a lot more than they're losing. So I think they're going to be a really good. They just are building a really complete all-around team with shooting, with size, with playmaking. And Dan Hurley is an incredible coach. So I think they're going to be. I mean, all of these teams are going to be top 5 teams, but I think they're going to be maybe the second best or the first best team in the nation. I think they're going to be really good because, I mean, Dan Hurley, I just said, is a top tier coach. So I really like them. I hope my Aunt Jamie's watching because I've got Louisville in the top 5, and she's a huge Louisville fan. Louisville's losing a lot of key contributors. Terrence Edwards Jr., Chuck Hepburn, Rain Smith, Trey Orr. They're all seniors. And we're still waiting on Javon Hadley and Kayshawn Pryor. We're waiting to hear what they're going to do. They're just kind of unique because they have eligibility. But they're getting a lot back. Isaiah McNeely in the transfer portal. He's a shooting guard, sharpshooter, 42% from three, and a very, very smart player. He doesn't pressure the rim very much, but he doesn't really have to because he shoots 42% from three. And he's a good off-ball mover. I really, really like him. They're getting combo guard Ryan Conwell. Great offensive player. He shoots 40% from three, and he can pressure the rim very well. He finishes over taller players. He's just got a knack for it, but he focuses a little too much on offense sometimes. He can just kind of get tunnel vision there, and then he can wear himself out on offense and give up a lot defensively. And then they're getting another combo guard, Adrian Woolley. He's another sharpshooter, 42% from three. That's 3 guys in the transfer portal, all shooting 40% from three or more, by the way. He's got really good size. He just kind of has to work on his ball handling, but he's a good finisher when he is at the rim. He shoots 60% at the rim. He's very, very turnover prone, which is his problem. So, I mean, Dan Hurley is going to have to work that out, but don't be surprised if Louisville is kind of like a bigger Houston. They're not going to be as good on defense, but they are a little bigger than them, and they're stacked with three-point shooting. And I think that Dan Hurley is a better coach than Kelvin Sampson, so I'm really, really interested in how this is going to go. Or sorry, no, we're talking about Louisville now, but still. I'm really interested in how it's going to go. I think they're going to be really, really good here. And then my final team in the top 5, once again, I said in no particular order, but these guys probably are the weakest of the 5, is Duke. And I hate saying that because I'm a Duke fan. Aaron, the Duke story is just losing a lot and gaining a lot. Every single year they have high turnover and they get a lot back in recruits. This year, they're losing a lot. Cooper Flagg is going to the draft. Knippel's going to the draft. Malawak is going to the draft. Proctor is going to the draft. Isaiah Evans is going to the draft. And then Sion James and Mason Gillis are both seniors. So that's 7 players either going to the draft or no longer eligible. However, we have the best recruiting class in the nation. And that's headed by Cameron Boozer, a power forward, if you recognize that last name, because he is son of NBA legend Carlos Boozer, one of my favorite players ever. He's just not Carlos Boozer now, Cameron Boozer is just an all-around difference maker. He's comfortable handling the rock. He's a great passer, especially for his size. He's getting better as a 3-point shooter. He reminds me a lot of Cooper Flagg in a lot of ways. Cooper Flagg is probably actually definitely more athletic than Boozer is, but Boozer is stronger. Um, he's a big body. He's just a really big dude. He can bully his way in the post. He's capable of moving people around. Even people that are taller than him, just with his low center of gravity, and he's got really soft touch. And then defensively, he's very versatile. He can move his feet on the perimeter. He can move his feet inside, and he's strong enough to deal with bigger players. He's kind of like a 2 through 5 defender, really, but he's not the best. Like Cooper Flagg was an incredible help side rim protector, really good. I mean, at blocking on the help side, just because of his athleticism and springiness. Boozer isn't as great, but he's still pretty good there. So, I mean, he's just one of the most sure things in the nation. He's possibly possibly a number 1 pick in next year's draft. I mean, Duke always finds a way to get one of those guys, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get Shelton Henderson. He's the number 12 player in the country. He's a small forward, just a physically imposing wing. He's 6'6" with a 6'10" wingspan. He's got really big hands, which makes him an incredible defender, perimeter defender. That's what he does best. That's his like A1 trait. He can keep up with guys smaller than him, and he's strong enough to deal with the bigger wings. Offensively, he bullies his way to the rim, and he has really nice touch when he gets there. His downside, he's not a very good 3-point shooter at all. I think he shot like literally 22% in high school, which is not good. He's got to improve there, and if he does, I mean, if he can get up to like a 34% 3-point shooter, that's all I kind of need to see from him. And then he's immediately like a incredible NBA prospect. I honestly haven't looked too much at Florida, but I don't know how great they're gonna be. The thing about Florida, you know, they'll have really good years, and then they'll kind of be in the gutter again for a while. We still got to see it out of Golden. I trust them. I think they're going to be pretty good, but I don't think they're going to be one of the top teams in the nation. Back to Duke. You got Nicholas Kamenia. He's a power forward. I think he's 6'9", really good. And then they have Caden Boozer, son of Carlos Boozer and Cameron's brother. So, listen, I just think they're going to be a really good basketball team. They've got a great coach in John Shire, who I trust. So, I think Duke is going to be – the only thing about Duke is I don't know how it's going to look on the interior for them. I mean, they have Cameron Boozer, who's really good. But they don't have like a true big. And I mean, they have not Mason Gillis. They have Malik Brown, but I don't really trust him on the interior, especially not offensively. And they have Ngugba, who is pretty strong. I just think he kind of needs to get the mental aspects of the game down. Kamenia has really good size. He's a high basketball IQ player, and he's just got good feel for the game. He's a really good passer, and he processes the game really quickly. He always knows what he's trying to do. He is a shooting threat on the 3-point line. He's not the best shooter, but he's a good off-ball player. And I mean, his A1 trait is passing. He's just a connective piece. And with Proctor gone, possibly gone, that could be a pretty big need. And then Caden Boozer is just really – he's so smart. And that's what you see out of a lot of these like team or sons of NBA players, is that they just kind of have the game and intellectually they know what they're doing. He's really smart. He's got good instincts and feel for the game. he's not like the most athletic with like speed or explosiveness, but he just leverages that size really, really well. He's 6'5", 210 pounds, and he's a really good passer as well. He's not the best defensively, and he's not the best three-point shooter. A lot of what he does isn't measurable, though, just with his connective playmaking. So I have a faith in Duke. I have faith in John Shire. I think they're going to be pretty good this year.
And look, it frustrates me as a Carolina fan how well Duke is able to retool year in, year out. For a lot of teams, one and dones can be a problem. That's not a problem for Duke remotely because they lose guys like Cooper Flag, and then they bring in another top 5, top 10 recruits. Consistently one of the best recruiting classes in the country. It's frustrating, but they're just such a established program in college basketball that they're never going to not have a top tier recruiting class.
No, they're always getting somebody back. Real quick, I do want to say there are still some sinners in the portal that I think Duke could go after. Malik Ewan from Florida State, he's 6'11", 230. He's still in the portal. Nick Pringle. Oh, nope. Actually, he's not committed, but Crystal Ball has him 100% at Arkansas. Duke Brennan, 6'10", 235. He's from Grand Canyon. He's still in the portal. Luke Bamboye where's he from? VCU, and David Collins from LSU. There's still a lot of things to happen, which is why this is way too early. And we kind of have no clue how it's going to shake out yet. But just specifically for Duke, there are people that they can target to fill the needs that they need filled, which really is just center.
And Carsen, unless you have anything else to add, I think that'll do it for this episode of Hoops and Helmets. This has been your hosts, Aaron Schneider and Carsen Williams. We'll be back Thursday with another football episode. A big thing to talk about as it relates to the transfer portal and NIL. Wish it could have happened Wednesday of last week, so we could have talked about it last week. But of course, that happened during the weekend after the show had already gone. But it's going to be
find a way, Aaron. Find a way.
Always going to happen, but that'll do it for tonight. Hope everyone has a good